2023 Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And now, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday night is back once again, and here at E2C Network, you know what that means. It's Auburn Family Night. This is our show each and every week that makes you, the Auburn family, take center stage. We're going to be talking about the topics and comments that are on top of your mind, of course, questions as well, and we'd love to hear from you in our call-in feature too. All of that where you take center stage, talking about the Auburn experience. Let's get into it right now. War Eagle, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, sit down, stand around, wherever you are, talk about the Auburn experience, which to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it might be, though, if it's orange and blue. It's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing this evening, Wednesday evening, which is always Auburn Family Night, which is one of my favorite nights of the week. Here are everything that we do at E2C Network, because this is all about why we even started this thing. You, the Auburn family, what you want to talk about, what you want to discuss. Yes, using me as a mouthpiece and a lot of that, but you, the audience, the Auburn family, can take center stage tonight. So join into the chat here on the live portion of the show. You can obviously, if you're catching the replay, drop some comments in the after effect, but certainly we'd love to have you here in the live portion as you're coming into the show. Come on in. Sit down, stay a while to let us know that you're here. Check in with us, smash the like button, the share button, wherever you're watching it, on whichever format. Don't be shy. Come on in, hang out with us, and spend some time talking with us this evening. So we are going to go ahead and officially open up the call-in link tonight for you to analyze, for you to think about. I know some of you are still trying to figure out do I want to utilize this? Definitely give it a shot tonight. During the summer, this is a good thing to kind of test things out. There's not a lot of hardcore things that we have to hit right after the other, but tonight's a good night. Hit the link at the top of the chat for you if you'd like to join in on the conversation and be part of on-screen discussions and things this evening. So as I addressed at the start of the show, this is all about you. We'll go where you would like to go in this particular space. We'll talk a little bit about what's on your mind. And I'll get us started, though, with a few topics that are very prevalent. If you haven't heard, we'll start right here. Nike is here. All of you that have just prayed, begged, pleaded for this, how does it feel? I mean, I know for some of you it was a little bit underwhelming because you built it up in your head a little bit more than it actually was, but there's more to come. The fact of the matter is the Auburn and Nike at least partnership is officially begun, and there'll be more to come from it. So don't get discouraged. Don't get downtrodden. There's reveals that started happening today. I know that most of you are wanting the football reveals. I believe that is on its way. If you've been following stuff on social media, they obviously have been following a pattern of revealing the fall sports, or at least primary fall sports. You've soccer and volleyball today. Equestrian and track and field in terms of cross country have a fall portion as well. So obviously they're going to get going here pretty soon, and they're needed to reveal their things. So we've seen all of those. My assumption would be that we will see football tomorrow. This is on a Wednesday evening. So certainly that feels like it's coming down the pipe thus far. But July 25th is the first day that they will have online in-store purchases for fans with new Nike gear. So you all start saving up those pennies and getting ready for all of that kind of stuff. All right, we got a couple people already in the chat, so good to see all of you. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Sam, Hangman, Unbeaten Lake, thanks for checking with us from the UK. It's not often that we hear somebody from across the seas checking in live with us. We do on the replays a lot, but thank you for taking the time. I'm sure it's very late over there for you, Hangman, but Appreciate hearing from you, and War Eagle to you across the pond. Unbeaten Lake, let's get started with you, sir. He says, saw the jerseys got leaked. Not really any change, but it doesn't make it, but it doesn't mean it won't get changed the next couple of years. Yeah, if obviously you're probably not shocked. You've been here a long time, Unbeaten Lake, and heard Clint kind of prep you for this, not to expect too much out of it, and that things take time to get going. It's not that Nike doesn't need to make a big splash with Auburn on their first go around, like an Under Armour may be needed to do. They're a well-established company. Everybody knows who they are. Everybody wants them, so they can just start it and then bring along the good stuff along the way. I'd also caution you too, Unbeaten Lake. Nothing was leaked officially. That was what you're probably referencing, unless I missed something, is the College Football 26 version of that. While it should be and hopefully is the exact version that is going to be with it, that doesn't necessarily mean that's official. We did report that out as a possible early look at it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily anything specifically new. We do have some people asking Hangman where he is, if he's calling in from the UK, or checking in with us from the UK. What time is it there? It's 9:06 here, 10 a.m. after 10 a.m., 2 a.m. here over there for him. I messed that up completely. See, it feels like it's later here for me because I don't even know what time it is at this point. It's been a long couple of days. If I'm tired and this worn out from the whole Nike thing, imagine how Clint Richardson's feeling right now. He's probably still asleep. I know that's not true, but he definitely feels like he should be getting some more rest. Let's see here. I want to see the nameplate, if they changed the font. Yeah, all these terms that Clint uses that you're privy to, I just don't spend a lot of time worrying about those things. I know they're important to some, but to me, as long as the color scheme and patterns of it remain basically the same, I'm a happy camper. Most of y'all know that I am not a bastion for change in any way for the uniforms. I love the way they look. I think they're absolutely perfect. I don't think there needs to be any change. And I know that's boring and frustrating to some of you, but my contention to you always is this: they're perfect. We don't need gimmicks to be special. And I think we should keep it that way, but that's just me. Hunter's good to see you here. He says, can't stay for long, but wanted to come for quick conversation and see what's pippin'? Like Scotty? You meant poppin'. Those dang autocorrects get you sometimes. Says, I really appreciate the subtle changes we made on our jerseys over the years, like the chrome decals, changes to the face mask. I'm fine with subtle changes, Hunter. I 100% agree with you there. You're not going to keep things exactly the same across, especially when you change maybe the way something is stitched, maybe the way something just rests on the body, how tight something is. Think about, we used to have very loose jerseys. Now you've got very form, and it's been that way for a while, very form-fitting gladiator style type of fits, and don't want any loose elements. So that certainly changes the way things are laid on the jerseys, the pants, and same thing with helmets. Technology has changed, so they have to kind of form fit to that in terms of head protection. So, subtle changes I have no problems with. I think the boldest change, as even Clint talked about last night, was the changes of the face masks and how big that was at the time. So obviously people love a little bit of change. I think we can all get on board with that for the most part. Big changes, though, feels like it could be a little bit troublesome. Was the Nike logo actually mowed into the lawn? Sam, I'm not sure what you're referencing here. So once again, don't assume that I've just seen something. Give me some specifics about what you're talking about. If you're talking about my lawn, absolutely not. First of all, it's got a B mode. Thanks for reminding me. So I don't know if that's something in reference to a video or something, but you won't see me putting anybody's logo other than Auburn in my lawn. So I'm not sure what you're talking about there on that one. Maybe that's from a reveal video or something today. I would bet it's all CGI if it's something from a reveal video or something like that you're referring to. So with that in mind, so how does everybody feel? Is anybody like relieved? I know there's some disappointment about what was or wasn't revealed on July 1st. I know there's disappointment about Auburn switching to Nike in general. And I think certainly there are some valid points to that. There are some valid concerns to that. I think they're worth having conversations about if that comes up naturally. I'm not just going to, rattle the wasp's nest just to do it for the sake of doing it. In fact, we kind of skirted around some of those issues last night. And I thought I might get into them, but we didn't. But it's to me, it kind of went about how it was supposed to. An exciting day of just celebrating it, but nothing over the top. The rest of it's coming down the line. Hunter, yeah. So you're going to bring up a topic that that we get a lot on TikTok, and my take on this, Hunter. He said, let me read what he says. I know it's early, but I'm starting to get slightly concerned with decommits, the lack of recruiting lately, wondering what has changed to create that cause and effect. Once again, Hunter, you probably know what I'm about to tell you. Why are you worrying about the decision-making process of teenage boys? So listen, I hear you. I understand that it looks scary. It's part of imagine there's a time where you didn't have all this access to this information. This stuff was going on all the time, and you didn't really necessarily were aware of all of that. It's because you're paying attention, that you're refreshing all the time. You're checking rankings and things like that. These stars, these rankings do not matter. To me, if you've got your obsession about stars and rankings in the right place, you don't freak out when things like this happen. And I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying I see a lot of people who don't have it in the right place. I am not concerned about who's committing and decommitting right now. What I am concerned about is what happens on signing day. Who's signing? And even then they can leave, right? To me, that's the only thing that matters. I don't spend any time worrying about it. I lose no sleep worrying about some kid who may or may not have made a final decision. The reality is very few of them have made final decisions. So my advice, as always, you're not shocked by this, is don't worry about it whatsoever. We got a happy 4th of July from over there. Look at the love being shown from across the pond. I mean, it's a little, I guess, back in the history, a little bit contentious, but nice to see that we've all reached that point where we just accept it. Brothers and sisters from across the seas. Thank you, Hangman. We appreciate it. Happy early 4th of July. Well, I guess it's kind of awkward to wish you happy 4th of July. I'm sorry about that. I made that much more awkward than I intended for it to be. That's just what happens when I put my foot in my mouth sometimes. Sam says, I just wish I could see the fan and merch stuff. I'm not really concerned about the uniforms. Don't think they will change much. If I'm not mistaken, Sam, a few places, maybe the Auburn Tigers website, you can go and see a few things that are coming out. I thought I saw a video of somebody scrolling through some things that might come available. My guess is you can probably go look at some of the other reveals for Nike lately and probably guess what it's going to look like just with the Auburn colors and Auburn flair on it. I don't know. To me, that would be my best guess in all of that. Corey, I don't know if we said hello to you yet, but thanks for being here. Let's see here. We got people talking about fishing in the chat. I love it when y'all take over the chat, and I'm trying to figure out what the conversation is going. Hangman, thanks for hanging out with us and staying at least awake for a little bit. We very much appreciate it, and we appreciate you hanging around with us from way over there. Hunter says, when is Big Cat Weekend? If memory serves correctly, that's when we've been turning it on, really making headway on the recruiting trail. So would it frustrate you even more to know that's already happened? Yeah, it's already happened. And once again, Hunter, I'm going to push back on this narrative for you a little bit. I know you just love that, but people build this prospect of a Big Cat Weekend at more than what it is. A lot of times it's only about making first impression relationship. People apply just because Perry Thompson flipped into a pool last year and did it, that it somehow is some big party every single year. Sometimes it's just about getting them on campus and building relationships. And then that's the seed that gets planted, watered, and eventually they come out later on down the line and commit to us. It's not always that same thing. I know I'm probably punching into a brick wall with some of you here, but I cannot stress this enough. Y'all have got to stop obsessing about the decision-making process of teenage boys. I know it. I say it that way for a reason, because it's uncomfortable when you hear it. It does put it in perspective. Who is going to get here will get here. Nothing, no worry about it from you will change it. And I trust the body of work that Hugh Freeze has put out there, and I'm not going to flip out over a small stretch of time in a long recruiting process that may or may not look so good. But to me, it doesn't even look, it's not that it looks bad or good, because people are just making those assessments on rankings and stars that do not matter. He says, I'm a teenage boy. Well, it's why I don't obsess about the decision-making process of teenage boys. Because I was once one of you, and I know how stupid I was. Sorry, Sam. There I go, putting my foot in my mouth again. I think you recognize, even as a younger man, that we make some stupid decisions sometimes. Anyway, okay. Yeah, Corey, I'm not even going to worry about the whole golfing thing. That's not even worth getting into. That's just a silly thing that people are pushing, just try to get, people stirred up about things. That's not even a concern to me whatsoever. And I think, once again, too, I always ask you, when you see a story during the summer, you need to do this all the time, but when you see a story and a narrative developing during the summer, you have to remember people are trying to get clicks. My numbers go down during the summer, so I know theirs, who have larger numbers, do. They are struggling to get you, keep you connected, to get you clicking. And it's not that they're making up stories, but they're going to go do things like, who obsesses over how many tee times? I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and here I am talking about it. Who goes and obsesses about how many tee times somebody put off during the summer, during their actual, what are supposed to be kind of off times as head coaches? Who cares? So they're blowing off some steam or spending some more times. The dude's also got cancer. Let him go, spend some time, kind of clear his head so he can be focused when crunch time actually happens. That's why you have a staff. Some of our media members, and I'm not singling out anybody in particular, they're obviously, a lot of them don't have already had preconceived notions and feelings towards Hugh Freeze because of things outside of the game, and they're always looking for reasons to kind of pull threads and build animosity, because it helps them feel better about how much hate they have in their hearts towards someone like Hugh. And it's just a sad world we live in, where that has to play into this too. These narratives, these stories in the summer, you have to really question them, because what they are, I'm not going to call them clickbait. It feels like that, but it's just a way to get you clicking and keep you engaged. And I wish we didn't have to do that to get views and things on our content these days, but unfortunately, you kind of have to play with that notion. All right, I'm off my soapbox for a little bit. Y'all got me going there. That's y'all's fault, not mine. Where do you believe our athletic facilities rank amongst across the best in the country? I've got no way of knowing that, Hunter. I spend zero time worrying about other people's facilities. I only worry about mine. What I would tell you is this, is I think, based off of not just Auburn fans' opinions, but opinions of just watching people talk about it all this season when people came to town and visited, Auburn's baseball facility should be one of the best in the country. I think Jordan-Hare, whether the facilities are the best condition or not, the way we fill it up and the atmosphere that is created within it is amazing. So I think that makes it top notch, and it's already being invested in some other things as we know what's going on. Neville Arena, there's really not much you can invest other than making improvements, which they're doing. So to me, it's not where they rank. It's where are you investing the money? Are you continuously reinvesting? And that is the case. So I wouldn't worry about where it ranks. I would worry about what's the product that you're putting out there. You can build a beautiful facility, but if you can't fill it up, what does that matter? Yeah, it's a great monument, but if nobody comes to it, okay, so you spent all that money for nothing. That's how I would look at it more than anything. Let's see here. Sam says, I was at Lake Martin last summer and saw Bruce Pearl tee off on one of the holes at the golf course by the lake. Haven't heard anything about him golfing. Well, it's because winning, shuts everybody up, right? And that winning has not come on the field yet. So people are going to do things like that. And unfortunately, too many people will buy into it and believe it. And that's just a sad reality of our world. Corey says, I'm not fretting over him playing or how much he plays. Just never knew that about him or whatever the reason. Yeah, but I guess my question is, what does it matter? You know, it's not, I guess I think the only reason it's fixating on people's minds is because we're going through what people perceive as a rough stretch based off of rankings and stars that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I cannot stress that enough. Tim says, disappointed Nike products are not on the shelf at stores starting July 1st because today is my birthday and hoping for some new Auburn Nike duds. That is disappointing, Tim. I am sorry that you didn't get that on your birthday. Today's the July 2nd. So happy birthday, by the way. So everybody, if you can virtually sing happy birthday, I'm not going to do it right now because wow, y'all's eardrums would just be burst at this point. So I'm not going to do that to y'all, but happy birthday, Tim. Maybe set aside the money for the birthday things that you were hoping for. Well, how about this, Tim? What are you looking for? What are you hoping for? Like, are you wanting a new hat, a new shirt? You got new athletic shorts? Are you a golfer? Are you looking for a new set of Nike golf equipment or something like that? What's on your mind? And anybody can answer this too. What's something Nike that you want to buy that has the Auburn logo officially with it now? I don't have anything in mind because I tend to be a little bit pickier. Like, it just took me years to buy this Eagle A hat from J&M bookstore, not this one or one back there, but one I usually wear out and about. I'm not rushing out to buy particularly anything Nike Auburn, but if I see something, I'm going to go get it, right? It's just the way I operate. If I like it, I'm going to think about it, wait 2 years, and then get it. I'm kidding. I did for this hat, though. Are your singing skills or math skills better? I think y'all have seen the evidence of my math skills here on this show, and I'm going to leave the singing skills up to interpretation from this point forward. You can imagine how ugly that might be. Do you know what a Nike Tech is? That I have no clue what that is. Absolutely no clue what that is. Tim's looking for a new golf hat, State of Auburn shirt, golf polo shirts, various colors. Why did I have a feeling that you are a golf, at least apparel person? Tim, I know we've met a couple of times out and about, but I wouldn't say I've gotten to know you that much yet, but I've kind of had you pegged for that. That's kind of weird that I threw that out there and you're confirming that. Or maybe it's like I said it and now you're thinking about it. But new golf hat, State of Auburn shirt. I wonder if they'll re-release that with the Nike logo on it. I was wearing that shirt yesterday on the day of the Under Armour version, on the day of the Nike release, and I didn't even think about it. And I almost wore it on the show yesterday with Clint, and I was like, oh, this probably would go over like a lead balloon. So, David says, never liked Nike, bring back Benjamin Russell. David, this is a great suggestion if they were still in the athletic apparel business. The collegiate uniform business, and they are not. So we can wish for that. We can want that all we want, but the reality is it's not here. And my guess is you probably have some other reasons to not like Nike that maybe you don't want to bring up here. And I'm not saying that those aren't some valid reasons. Some of you bring it up too much on online. I'll just say that much, and are a little bit hypocritical because if you've got issues with the company of Nike, you probably have issues with the company of the phone or the computer that you're typing those comments on. But you're not going to be able to find a company that's completely clean these days. It would be idealistic to go back to the Benjamin Russell days. We all glorify the good old times and things like that. And trust me, I am a sucker for nostalgia, and I would love that. But the reality is, A, they're not in the uniform business. B, even if they were, they are not established enough. And a lot of people like to talk about this is the reason that we switched to Nike and that's the reason. I think it's as simple as this. It was the most financially stable decision you could make because Nike's not going anywhere. Of the major brands, it's the most secure. I think it's just that simple. So that would be my take on it. But I would love to see Benjamin Russell still here. It's just not the reality. Would you want a Tiger on the field in the near future, or would you be in fear of a Siegfried and Roy scenario? I'll be honest with you. I actually love the concept of the live tiger at LSU. It would be cool to do it at Auburn, but it's too reciprocal now. Not reciprocal. What's the word? It's been done, and you don't want to keep repeating things. You want to be original. Auburn is original in the bald eagles, the war eagles flying, and the golden eagles. So I would like it, but I also want Auburn to be original. So I guess my answer is no. I do have a background working in zoo captive animal situations, and I think there are some things with that aren't so great. Talking about pulling a tiger in a small cage out into a screaming crowd, they do become conditioned to such things, but it feels a little bit off. So people can make the same cases for the eagles as well. You know, without getting into all of that, it looks cool. I got to give LSU props for it. I just don't want us to be a rehash of something else. But it is cool, Sam, and I've seen it in person, that they have a very large on-campus habitat for the tiger to live in, Mike. It would be, but Aubie's Aubie, right? We don't have another tiger we call Mike that clearly isn't the mascot. Aubie is the mascot. He's a real tiger, and that's all you need. Then you ruin the story. Do you like the bald eagles or the normal lame eagles better? Whoa, Sam, buddy, them is fighting words. I'm trying to compose myself right now. What's the golden eagles, my friend, are not lame. I need to have you come hold one of those jokers, and then you tell me how lame they are. You haven't felt power until you felt a golden eagle grip your hopefully gloved hand and arm. Whoo, that's some hot takes right there, sir. I will tell you this much. Bald eagles, they got nothing on golden eagles. And I do love bald eagles, but they got nothing on them. Corey went to Benjamin Russell. Tough day, huh? Benjamin Russell. And he loves the nostalgia. Yeah, we always glorify those days, and that'd be a good thing if it could come back. It's just not the reality of it. Do you remember your favorite flyover at a stadium? Planes here? Well, more. I actually kind of like helicopters more than the planes. One, I'm not a pilot, but I would imagine it is easier to time with the national anthem being played, the fireworks shooting off with a helicopter than it is a jet. That's a weird word or weird way to mimic a jet. Okay, it's getting worse. I would say it's probably going to be when they do like Apache helicopters or something like that. That's what I prefer. It also makes for a longer video when I'm filming it, so it's a little bit, that's where I would go with it. I just mentioned not birds. Are you asked? I'm a little bit confused by your phrasing now, Sam. It says, do you remember? Do you have a favorite flyover? I guess you were talking about the planes and the birds. I'm not sure now. Corey says, good thing for Auburn that they have Maxwell Air Force Base nearby. Yeah, absolutely. Sets up very nicely for flyovers of planes and helicopters and things of that nature. I love being up in the upper deck and watching them come on before everybody else down below. Because there's always that anticipatory waiting period for it, and it builds up and people get excited, and then you can start hearing it build in the upper deck, and eventually people hear the people in the upper deck. And it kind of is unfortunate because we're supposed to be reverent and observant during that time for the flag, for the national anthem, honoring our country and those servicemen and women. And we're all so consumed by waiting for that flyover. The one with the skydivers coming in would be cool. I think they've done that. When's the last time they did that? I don't know. It's been a while since they did. Excuse me. Since they did skydivers for a flyover for Auburn. To me, it's a little bit too long of a wait to have them coming in, and it's a little bit more distracting because obviously they have to start their descent, and people will figure it out too early, and then you're really distracted from the national anthem. I think helicopters are perfect because you can hear them coming, and a jet just kind of goes, there I go doing noises again. Terrible mimicry of planes and such. Marquette, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping in from Facebook. We're always glad to see our friends on Facebook checking in. Thanks for being here. I sit under the old video board. It's weird to call that old now, isn't it? And watch them come in. I think the upper deck is the best view, to be honest. Although this year I'm going to try my best for however many games I can get in to get different angles. I had basically 2 angles last year of flyovers. One from basically the visitors band section, although that was homecoming, it was the alumni band. And then from the upper deck, usually from the north side of the north end zone side of view, so I can get the video board with the fireworks coming in. I'll try to do some more angles this year if I think about it. The flyovers we had when I was a kid was an old school plane hauling a ratty ad from the back. That's before most of you youngsters' time. Don't lump me in with them, Corey. I ain't a youngster anymore. Last year, so we had, I don't know the different planes, but we had jets. We had some old school planes that took a little bit too long to get there and kind of went a little bit too high. You had different types of helicopters. I prefer the big old Apache helicopters coming in. And there was a Chinook, I think is what it's called, one time, with some other helicopters. That was kind of cool too. Marquette, don't know what this is in reference to. I says, I would like the orange and white. Got no reference for what you're talking about, my friend, but thanks for the comment. Tell us a little bit about what you mean by that, what you're saying. I think maybe this is in reference to uniforms, but that was a little bit out of the left field there for us. We're trying to get the context with that one. Oh, I'm in the flight school, so I just think the flyovers are awesome. Sam, if you told this to me before and I didn't know this, or if I forgot, I'm sorry. So what do you think about Sam, call in. It's really easy. Let's talk to you. You need to get used to calling in too. Hit that call-in link up at the top, and let's hear about the aviation program. I seriously love to hear different perspectives like that. So don't be shy, my friend. A-10 flyover, the ULM game was my favorite. They have the loudest engine and a cool history. Look at. We didn't know this about Sam. Here I was thinking he was a young whippersnapper who liked to throw shots at me in an Eagles, and he's got some plane knowledge. Look at him. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been getting asked a lot, Sam, about the aviation program. That wouldn't be in relation to you, like being on those streams and your buddies or something like that, would it be? Because I just don't know enough about it. From my perspective, it seems like it's a pretty good program. Delta's been, seems like it's been pretty involved with being a part of that in some form of a partnership. That's about all I have to go off of in the aviation side of things. Tying all that together, it would be cool to see like Nike get involved in things outside of athletics if they are going to be our official brand person. So there you go. All right. Well, he did it. So let's bring him on now. We'll get our first caller this evening. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good to see your face finally. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. You
a little nervous for the first time calling in, putting the face to the name?
I guess a little bit. I mean,
that's how you're good.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, but this was like in December, but you actually let me on your like TikTok live, like when I was in line at one of those games. I forgot which game it was, but that was a while ago. But my face wasn't on that one.
That's all right. Well, we got to make it happen sometime. So here you are. Look, you have done this before. Others have that are on this stream right now. So
I guess, yeah. I don't have a special. Actually, I do. Hang on. I do have a cowboy hat.
Oh, you're gonna do it for Kevin. Where is Kevin tonight?
Dude, I know. I was like, normally that's how we open, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It feels a little bit weird tonight not having Kevin have called in yet. He's probably like just logging. It's like, crap, he took my spot.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, tell us. I know maybe people. I don't know if anybody else is interested. I am. Tell us a little bit about the aviation program.
Yeah, the aviation program at Auburn is actually super cool. Like, I'm from Alabama, so it was pretty much like one of the only colleges in Alabama that offered an aviation school. So it's kind of like, I'm gonna go here. But then when I got here, I learned about like they have a ton of connections with like Delta and Southwest and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. So, do you have any like specific questions? Sorry, I know.
No. I'm sorry. That is a very vague question. So I know maybe you don't know these facts, but were you ever presented with like where Auburn's aviation ranks compared to others, or like who's the next best one that, or what's the other aviation program that people talk about?
Yeah. So there's two. So in most lists nationally, Auburn is normally in the top 3 for aviation programs. So there's Embry-Riddle. I don't know if you've ever heard of Embry-Riddle. It's like it's in Florida. It's like a only aviation school. Like that's all they do. And then the other good flight school is Purdue.
Okay.
Which is, the tuitions there is insane. So they have to have a nice flight school. So yeah. But we're normally like, for hiring wise, we're normally in that top 2 or 3 every year, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what year are you? You're sophomore?
So I was a freshman, so I'm going in my sophomore year.
Sophomore year. So when you complete the next 3 years, what does that mean? Like when you get out of aviation school as a senior, do you go on to do some type of, I want to call it clinicals or something, but like, what does that look like? Or do you know yet?
Right. So the plan normally in 4 years. So you start off, there's 4 licenses you need to get to be a like commercial airline. That's normally like most people's goal. So you start off with your private pilot's license. That normally is your freshman year, and that's like just to fly around, like you and your friends in a plane. And then you do like instrument your second year, and that's to fly through like clouds and like at nighttime and like just stuff like that, like bad weather. And then you get your commercial license, and that's where you can like fly for hire and stuff like that. And then normally like the airlines will want you to get your CFI, which is it's a license to teach people. So when you so you teach people to build hours to get ready for the commercial, and then normally around 1,000 hours ish, they'll hire you. And then Auburn, like if you teach at Auburn, like you get hired like that. Like they know Auburn's teaching is really like, it's well known in the like at least the Delta and Southwest and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like if you're an engineer, they see Auburn attached to it. They're like, oh, we got to get this guy.
Right. Yeah. Auburn, like you said earlier, like it's in like the top 5, top 3 lists of like best hiring. Or sorry, I said earlier, hiring schools. So yeah, they really like they see Auburn and they already think good things of you.
See that. Yeah, this is very helpful information because it's not something that I venture into a whole lot. I have no basis of knowledge for it. So that's actually been very helpful. Here's a question from Corey. He asked, do they teach flying choppers there?
They do not. You can, so this is going to be a really, really horrible answer, but you can learn how to fly them at the same time, but it's not going to be through Auburn. It's going to be through the Auburn like airport. So it wouldn't be through the school, but you can do it in parallel. It's just not going to be like through Auburn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool information. All right. I mean, we can keep talking about, I'm interested in this stuff, but since you called in, is there anything else like sports wise you want to talk about too? Or
not really. I don't want to say I don't know a lot about football, but I'm really more of like a basketball and like golf kind of guy.
Okay. So speaking of, Jackson Coyven officially today announced he's coming back. What do you think about that?
I saw that. So I don't know what he's been doing since he hasn't been at Auburn, but I'm not gonna lie. So I think I'm just interested because I feel like we have so many players on, like we've brought in so many new players. I wonder if he's gonna like serve as like a veteran to these players and like mentor them, or like what his role's like. Is he gonna start? Like I don't know what his role's gonna be really.
Well, and he's been one of the best in the country, so I think he's probably still going to lead. But maybe it is one of those things where this is like his swan song, or whatever. He's going to kind of pass off the torch or whatever. But that was a little bit of news today that kind of we didn't even share about it because I was amongst all the other things
Right.
today of Nike reveal of certain teams stuff. But yeah, since you said golf about that. All right. So here, let me ask you about this, and this can round out our time here.
Okay.
Basketball. So, I don't love speculation, but I can ask you about it. I can ask you about it because I know y'all like to talk about it. If you had to put it right now, based on, I know you don't know the full non-conference schedule, but I think you've probably seen the same things that I'm seeing out there based off of who we know we're going to play thus far. Oregon and Michigan were announced.
Yeah, and in that tournament we're in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Plus Arizona, Purdue, Houston.
Yeah, Purdue will be good.
All of that. And then just think about non-conference. So Stephen Pearl on the radio, I think is what it, or no, it was just a post or something like that. Anyway, Stephen Pearl said he felt like this schedule would be just as difficult as last year. And you know how difficult last year's was.
Yeah, last year's turned out like to be probably the hardest, like by far, by any. Like
right.
Remember we had all those quad one wins. Like it wasn't even close to the other teams. I remember that.
Right. So here's what I want from you. We lost what? One game to Duke in non-conference, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, it was Duke. We won the Maui. Yeah, it was just one game to Duke.
Okay. So what is your prediction for how many losses Auburn will have in non-conference play, given this is a brand new team? Tahad's there still, but it's still brand new, so you can't really predict off of that. All those big names that we're playing again, plus some new ones like Arizona, Oregon. What do you think?
I think we lose non-conference. Just non-conference, probably. I have high hopes for this team, obviously, so I'm thinking it'll be, I don't want to say 2. That's too low. So I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to go with 3 non-conference.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Honestly, if we get out of 3 with a whole new roster, essentially, aside from Tahad, I'm fine with that, given the type of talent we're going to be playing. I mean, you got to play Michigan again. We just got through doing the Sweet 16 with them.
Yeah, we played Michigan and Michigan State right then.
I know, and that's just wild just to think about it. So I'm fine with 3.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Purdue, I think is going to be really good, and they're going to remember we smacked them in the BJCC. It was like a 30-point win, and they're bringing everybody back. So I feel like they're going to have some motivation coming into that one.
I think we've gotten a few Purdue people occasionally that pop in on the TikTok lives with us, and I think I think they're not very toxic. I think they're a pretty good fan base from what I remember, but they seem really jazzed up about that matchup in Indiana. I am. It's one of those that I wish I was more keen to travel around for some away games in many sports, but especially this one, because I think that one in Indianapolis is going to be. That's going to be a good one.
I don't know if we're going to escape. That's kind of like going not to compare it to Duke, but it's very similar to going to Cameron Indoor, and Purdue's not like a joke in basketball. Like I don't know. I think Purdue's our hardest away game or a non-conference game.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for offering your prediction. Anything else tonight from you, sir?
No, that's it.
Thanks for calling in, man. I know I put you on the spot, but you were a good sport for doing that. And now you've done it. The Band-Aid's pulled off, so you can do it anytime you want to.
Might do it in the future. We'll see.
All right, Sam. Thanks again.
All right. See ya.
Great to hear from Sam tonight. He's been a good sport. I pick on him a lot in TikTok lives and things like that. So I love when people can take it in stride. I should have done this with him. I took issue with his shade he threw at my Golden Eagles. But we'll let him go for that one. All right. Thomas, good to see you, my friend. I want to hear what you think about that big boy from New Zealand. So it seems like we need to call from you tonight, Mr. Manville. Devin, she said, been dealing with some ornery kids tonight. It's okay. As long as you're here, we're happy to have you. Felix, what's going on, sir? Thanks for joining us last night too, Felix. And good crowd starting to assembling of our regulars. No problems. When you get here is not necessarily the problem. We just love to see you when you can be here hanging out with us on Auburn Family Night. So let me do this. A couple of you probably, I don't know if anybody's noticed, we obviously don't have Barner Brand down there below. We're potentially going to have them back on in the future here as a sponsor on Auburn Family Night. It was a kind of a short-term trial thing we were doing. I'm still an affiliate of theirs. I love their stuff. So if you want to continue to support them, we ask that you do it by using our link. And that way, you can support them and us. It's just a way that we get a kickback as their affiliate. That's usually in our one link thing. If you ever need it and you want to buy something from them, go through our link and just ask me for it, and I'll resend it to you directly if you ever need that. So they are not sponsoring right now, clearly, but they certainly, we hope to have them back in the future because we love their products and love what they do. What else here? He said they're just not as cool as the ball ones. Aria isn't even close. Oh man. Sam. We did so good on the call too. That's the last time we hear from Sam. I'm just kidding. No, listen. I understand why people have an affinity towards bald eagles because they do stick out a little bit more. It would shock you to know, if you haven't looked it up yourself, that bald eagle, immature bald eagles, they look just like golden eagles, at least to the untrained eye. I would be able to tell you that's an immature bald eagle, but most people are like, wait a minute, that's not a bald eagle. They don't get their white heads until much later in life. Corey, great question. Kyle, do you plan on hitting any of the away games this year? If you're talking about football, if you're not, please let me know. The answer is just as kind of a blanket no. I don't tend to travel a whole lot, because I do this off of my dime specifically. We are not really, we're not a traditional credentialed medium. I do get credentialed for minor events, not necessarily games, to come in or have access to something. So I'm very thankful for that. But being as it's just my business and I have a few volunteers that help me from time to time, it's not something that's in the books right now. We are growing every year. And one day I would love for this to be kind of a few-man operation and us be able to afford to pay them and pay a travel stipend to go, travel and stay in hotels and things like that. I'll tell you what, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit here. You want to know what my dream is to have if you've ever watched these videos of people building out anything really, school buses, but not camper vans, but I just want a regular van that doesn't have to have a height, restriction on it or anything like that, where you can have a small shower in it, a small kitchen, one bed, and I could then travel to these places and it limits hotel expenses, some food expenses, and do some of these things more often. We are far cry from that. I probably don't need to do that because I'll start doing that too often. But I love that concept and would love to do that someday so that I could do more of that for you guys. Let me more directly answer your question, Corey. I've been planning for the longest time to go to Baylor this year, and that is still on the table. I have connections over there with my brothers. Actually, I'll go ahead and say this. I was going to mention earlier, I'll be gone next week. So no Auburn Family Night next week. I cannot do it. There's no way. My brother is getting married out in Texas and Waco. And we will be in Texas in a variety of places getting ready for that week. So I'm a part of the wedding, obviously, and got best man duties to attend to and other various things. So we won't be able to do that next week. Anyway, why was my tangenting there? I have Baylor connections. I had hoped to be there, been planning about being that with the changes of the tickets this year for general season tickets not even being available to the general public. They got sold out previously. I'm now missing the Georgia, Alabama, and homecoming game. I'm not super worried about getting the homecoming games, but I need to be able to pay a reasonable price for Georgia and Alabama. And unfortunately, $50 right now for Alabama and $270 for Georgia is just a little bit too pricey at this time. I may end up having to pay that down the line, but that changed things for me a little bit. So anybody want to help me out? If you hear of a ticket, let me know. I got $200 a piece for them. That's about what I'm willing to go on them. And I'm hoping to find it for that. Anyway, that was a long way to get home to say no plans of it right now. I will say this, Corey. I don't know if you've noticed this in some of our other content. I forget which platforms you're on. When they come to the state of Georgia, I try my best, especially for some of the other teams. Like we've been to I think 2 years in a row now, a swim meet at Georgia Tech. We've been to softball versus Georgia State. I've gone to baseball for Georgia Tech. I've gone to volleyball versus Georgia Tech. I have been to soccer versus Kennesaw State. I tried to go over to UGA one time. It just didn't work out. And I almost went to Clemson too, because it's not even furthest away. So, yeah, I am prone to do those ones, but not really anything else at this moment. Hoping I can figure out how to get to Baylor. All right, I got into a long-winded discussion there, but it's a good topic. Oh, we're already at 9:50. Geez. All right, let me catch up here in the chat. Last minute calls. Get in now if you'd like to. Yes, my specific degree was zoology, conservation, biodiversity. I do not believe there is that specific degree. They may have a general zoology degree now. I think they narrowed it down after my class left. Tim says, I love the Golden Eagle best, but have grown to accept the Bald Eagle since we have the Raptor Rehab Center. If you've not gone out to, by the way, if you ever need to see stuff, like kind of check things out before you do it, we try to give you a lot of those videos in our YouTube content. I have a video of the Raptor Center's pre-game day show on Friday afternoons, usually, if you want to see what that's like. It's well worth the price of admission. And even if you don't think it is, you're basically donating to the Raptor Center. It's helping support them and our Eagles. So definitely go check that out. If you can ever get a tour of the actual facility, not just the amphitheater area, that's a cool thing to do as well. All right, we got another caller. I'll get you in just a second. Let's roll through some of these real quick. You could get the Auburn camp and you could get into the Auburn Camper Water Park. Now you're thinking, Sam. See, Sam, he's starting to learn me a little bit. That's what this is all about. This is not about traveling around to Auburn away games. This is about getting into the Auburn Water Park that apparently only has access if you're at the RV camp there now. That's not a bad idea, Sam. Not a bad idea. Let's see here. The dream match that I referred to last week. Corey, what are you referring to? Auburn and Notre Dame? Which one are you talking about there? Now I'm intrigued. What did I say last week? I say too many things sometimes. A couple more here and we'll get our caller in. When's the last time I missed a home game? I missed the New Mexico State game because of a very unfortunate family event. A lot of you know what that is. Talked a little bit about that. I won't get into it here. It's not something I can necessarily publicly talk about. I don't mean it to be dramatic about it, but it is what it is. And I appreciate a lot of y'all's prayers and thoughts during that time. So let's see here. Cheapest I've seen for Bama has been 300. I'm hoping they come down too. It's not going to come down much, but it will be there. You're excited for the Baylor game, and it's a night game, so everybody who's going to be there won't hopefully pass out. Do they do tours not on game day like during the week? Sam, I don't know that for the Raptor Center. Just give them a call. They're pretty open. It might be they like, hey, we can do it on this day. You want to come by and just see what we're doing? From what I understand, it may be the case. Corey, Notre Dame is like on the table with Hugh Freeze. That's a dream matchup right there. All right. Caught up in chat. Let's get him in. Let's go to school. Let's talk about it. Mr. Manville, what's going on, sir?
Warrior, y'all. How y'all doing this evening?
Doing well. Trying to stay cool.
It's a little warm, but probably as long as I'm calling in from the sunroom, you're gonna see me with the least amount of clothing acceptable. Because
thank you for clarifying acceptable. I thought you're gonna see me without clothes. I was like, nope, nixing that. Getting you off the screen right now.
Nope. That will not be happening. Now, if we win the Natty, I'll call in shirt.
Well, how about this? If we win the national championship this year, Thomas and I will commit to a video of us both streaking at our separate locations. We'll blur out everything. You on board?
Yeah. All right, fine. You called me out. You got me. But what's funny is you said streaking. My dad, when he was in school at Auburn, was there the first time the streak came down.
Yeah.
Like it's in the glomerulus that he still has.
Speaking of, I know this is weird. Sorry. I've been meaning to post this out on social media. If there is anybody out there, I think these are years 2000. I have extra sets of these gloms that are back here. 2008, 9, 10, and 11. If you need any of those, let me know. Or if you want them, I've got extras and I will figure out how to get those to you or whoever else wants them there. You can look in there and probably find a picture of me if you'd like to. Not that that's a reason to have them. All right, sir. Obviously, I want to talk to you because we didn't talk about Nikkei, I think is how you say his name. Nikkei Hepe. Did we talk last week about him, or is that a?
We did not. It was after last week's phone call that he committed.
Yes. Okay. So certainly we can talk about other stuff in that realm too. I know that's been a big topic and frustration this week as well. But you and I love talking about big hog mollies, the importance of them. And when I saw that one come through, I said, oh man, I got to think at least on measurables alone, Thomas is just like, yes, can we go to New Zealand more often? 6'7", 350s to 370 pounds. I saw differing measurables for him. It's a different place for Auburn to go for anybody, much less an offensive lineman and somebody who just started playing.
Right.
Tell me what you think.
That first off, that's a big dude. That is a very large human being that has. I mean, I guess with training and repetition could be good for us.
Yeah.
After looking at what film I could find, now there may be film out there that I didn't see. I don't know. I got real excited based on the size and it being a lineman. Mm-hmm. Then I watched what film I could find at that moment to be available, and I got discouraged.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that he's not going to turn into a good player for us. I'm not saying he's terrible. I just don't know enough about the dude right now to tell you, yes, I'm excited, or no, I hate this. Why are we spending a scholarship on it?
Yeah.
So I want him to come over here. I want him to learn. I want him to get meaningful reps. And then we can decide if it's good for us or not. We just don't know at this point.
Sure.
Because has he ever played a down of American football against an American football player? I don't know. I haven't found anything that shows that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hit the panic button and say, oh Lord, we reach it. Like, I don't want to say that. If you're going to offer somebody a scholarship, clearly you see something in them.
Yeah.
That you would deem redeemable. We can work with this. We can build on this.
Yeah.
Is he just a guy that is a freak athlete? And they said, shoot, we're about to turn him into a tackle. I don't know. Yeah. So it makes me a little bit nervous, but I'm not going to say absolutely not, shut it down, I hate it, until I see what the guy can do in an actual football situation.
Yeah. Let me paint the picture a little bit because I know you've done your digging too, but from what I understand, being over there in New Zealand, he's actually in this NFL academy that's in Australia. The reason they have this academy is for a way for college eligible prospects to be able to get some sort of training towards professional sports in the United States. I think this goes beyond the NFL too. I think but they specifically said the NFL academy. So way I understand it, even whether it's New Zealand, Australia, there is not a lot of opportunities for practice or competition or American football there. They're big into rugby. Now, I have seen, I think it was either a picture or a video of him playing rugby. Big dude can move for a big dude like that, especially if you're playing rugby. So to me, maybe it is a little bit of a reach at this point, but I got to think if you can move with that type of size to play that game and be a valuable asset in the game of rugby, yes, that's something to consider and say, if he's already got a little bit of quicker feet than a tackle might have traditionally, we can mold him. We can get some of that built into some SEC muscle, get him the training he needs. And maybe by year 2.5, end of year 2, we're looking at somebody that can rotate into the depth piece. And when they see that big boy come out, woo, So I don't know. That's the way I've been thinking about it a little bit. It's a different story, isn't it?
It is, and I'm picking up what you put down. That's what I want to happen
Yeah.
for this kid. I want everybody to come to Auburn. I want everybody to experience Auburn and play for Auburn and run out of that tunnel on a Saturday night in Jordan Hare. Like I want that for all these kids, and I want this to work out. But if it doesn't work out, then that doesn't look good. I'm not saying we need to do anything drastic, but I want this kid to work out for us. But right now, from what I just what I've seen, not what the coaching staff has seen, not what anybody involved with the program has seen, what I've seen, I don't see a reason behind it. But they did. There's a reason they found this kid from the NFL Academy down there in Australia. And typically, you would think punter.
Right.
But like you said, he's a big dude that can move. He can move very well. And rugby is another an awesome contact sport. And people poo-poo on it because it's not football, but go watch rugby.
Yeah.
Look, there's probably a local rugby club where you live or close to it. Go watch it.
Yep.
It's an awesome sport. It is so much fun. I had no idea really what it was other than a much fatter football, and I have to wear a collared shirt and shorter shorts until I was able to go overseas to England twice for a total of 20 days. Yeah. And we brought an American football, and we were teaching them how to throw that, and then they taught us about rugby, and we had a great time. And you know what? We've kind of spanked England in most things, and let me tell you, 6 church boys from Leeds and Moody, Alabama, absolutely blanked every Brit team we played, whether it was soccer or football, rugby or American. No matter what sport it was, we blanked.
Yeah,
they never once scored on us, and we was church boys. So I'm saying,
quick plug.
We had a great time over there. It was a missions trip, but rugby's an incredible sport.
Yeah.
Invest a little bit of time into it. At least go watch some highlights of the hits.
Yeah.
At least
let me do a little quick plug on top of what you were saying. I'm glad you brought that up because there's an easy way for you to go get acquainted with it. Auburn has a rugby club team. I went to a match last year before a football game. I've said this a lot. Some of the club teams, and I don't know if it's on the team or Auburn to do this better, but they need to have their schedules more regularly updated and on a easier way to find all of them so you can go do some of these things because some of them are very strategically and conveniently placed on game day weekends. So if you can do that, go watch this. I went out there and I knew something about the game of rugby, at least just in how physical it was, and I still wasn't prepared for it. It is a physical, athletic game. Go out and watch this thing. Obviously, you can, when you watch it, you understand the basis of why it's connected to football and other things like that. So all that to say, connecting it back to what we were talking about, we got a guy who doesn't really know the game necessarily of American football yet, but there's clearly something the coaches like.
Yeah, and I'll answer Sam Monson's question. No, sir, I am not a vet. And Corey also, it's rugby MMA. It is the roughest game of backyard football you've ever played, but you just happen to have a much fatter, different shaped ball.
Yeah,
and you don't throw it overhand.
Yeah. We gotta. Yeah, somebody said, "Happy 4th to Thomas." Way to rough up those Brits for us.
Well,
it's funny you said that before you guys got on. We had somebody check in from us from the UK, and he had to go because it was 2 a.m. in the morning there. But so he's missing us, having some fun at the expense with the whole British and 4th of July thing yet again. But it's all good now. It's all good. All right. What else do you want to talk about in the Auburn space?
Man, that's about it. I mean,
okay.
Had a great time when I was over in Europe. The Brits are wonderful people. I don't think they were prepared for the size of the Americans. Not taking anything away from them.
But the McDonald's we eat helps a little bit. But that I'm just saying.
Man, I can't remember the last time I had fast food.
You're doing much better than me, then, friend. You're doing way better than me.
I'm just saving money, bud.
Yeah, see, I like that idea. And then Chick-fil-A is literally just like a stone's throw away from my house. And it's the Lord's chicken, apparently. So I got to go over there and spend some time.
I'm not trying to be sacrilegious, but Mama's fried chicken is a little bit better than the Lord's fried
Ooh.
chicken.
Well, listen, that might be the Lord's fried chicken, especially if she prayed over it, beforehand and all that kind of stuff. So we can talk about that kind of debate of who's got the Lord's chicken. All right. Well, sir, it is always good to hear from you. Thankful we got to talk about Mr. Hepe over there in New Zealand. That's definitely something I was intrigued to see if we would get to talk to you about this evening. So we have got that checked off, sir. So as always, I will also tell you publicly, thank you for your support. As you just put in the chat, you're too kind as always.
Hey man, War Eagle, I hope every player that comes to Auburn has the Auburn experience, turns into a true Auburn man or woman. I hope that their effort and their fight and what they give to Auburn pays them back tenfold. I love Auburn. I believe in Auburn, and I love it. War Eagle, everybody. Y'all have a good day tomorrow.
That's how you signed off a call right there. Good to see you, man. All right. Good to hear from Thomas. All right. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the phone lines. But next time we are having an Auburn family night, you are welcome to call in. If you were just clicking in right now, I can probably let you through, but we're going to go ahead and put the all call off right now at this time. Final comments, questions, topics. We're a little bit past our normal time, but we've been having some fun, having some very unique conversations tonight. And I'll be honest with you guys. I know some of you have been around here for a while, probably hear me say this a lot. What's going on, Micah? The nights during the summer, they tend to be a little bit lower on the audience size and things like that. That doesn't matter to me. But we often get an opportunity to, yes, talk about some of the things that we're always here to discuss. But we get to do things like tonight. Tonight we talked with Sam about aviation, the aviation program at Auburn. We got to talk with Thomas about rugby a little bit tonight. We got into the Eagles. And yes, for whoever was asking earlier, we were talking about the Auburn Raptor Center. So tonight was a really good night of what I like to do is to cover the whole of the Auburn experience. We talked about the good stuff, the bad stuff, Nike, all those things in between. So my hat's off. Well, I can't take it off without knocking the things off. My proverbial hat is off to all of you. Figurative hat is off to all of you for making this what is always a fun night and an exceptionally good night because we hit so many different things. So give yourselves a round of applause. Now, let me cover a couple things as you guys are getting some more comments and questions in to round out the show. What's the next step for us for the rest of the week? What do we got going on? Obviously, we can all breathe Nike is here. My assumption is that we will probably see some more reveals tomorrow about jerseys. You do what you want with that. So be looking for that. But in terms of our content, we'll be on TikTok lives for most of the rest of the week. After and Sunday night, we are going to be doing the Auburn Experience show, most likely from a different location. After Sunday night's 9 Eastern time show, I don't have anything planned until the next Sunday night, the Auburn Experience show, because I will be gone to Texas for a whole week, being a part of my younger brother's wedding. And we're very excited about that, but I have a lot of responsibilities and traveling that are come with that. With that being said, I recognize there's a lot going on next week that I'm going to be missing out on, not being able to do some stuff I typically would do for you guys. Just please be patient and stand by for some of that. But we won't have Auburn Family Night next week. We will have the Auburn Experience shows this Sunday and the next Sunday, but we've got a lot of stuff to get done next week. So I'm going to have to be limited on what I do. Yes, weddings are fun, but I'm ready for them to be done, and I'm ready for my Texas weddings to done. For a family that's based in Alabama, I have been to 3 weddings in Texas. Technically 4. Won't get into the technically part of it. I will we'll leave it at that and tell you that explanation. But like I said, please join us for the Auburn Experience, episode 132 this Sunday night. We'd love to see you there. I talked a lot about our affiliate that we have with Barner Brand. We're also an affiliate with Alumni Hall. For those of you that are going to be buying stuff on April 25th, please do think of using our affiliate link if you go to our description here in this YouTube video or everywhere else you can find these links, there's a thing called a link tree. It's a one link, takes you to a mini web page, and it's got everything in there. Ways to contact us, ways to support us, ways to work with our affiliates. If you're going to buy stuff from Alumni Hall for Auburn Nike stuff, please do use our affiliate links and help support us and support those Auburn companies like Alumni Hall. Okay. That should be it. You guys have got the gist of what I wanted to get across to you down. What else do we got here? College Football 26 stream. I think this is what you were referring to and kind of what I was trying to get across. So I am planning on bringing my console with me. Thankfully, these days, they're getting smaller and easier to do things like this. I just don't know, what the capability for me to be able to capture gameplay on it and be connected to a TV in a hotel room. I hate that they chose to the debut week is the week of the wedding. And really the true reveal day, the main reveal day, is on the day before the wedding. So definitely can't do anything really that day. So I will have content out for that. It will be a little bit delayed, unfortunately, from probably some of the others that y'all follow out there. So I appreciate you guys coming back to check out our stuff too. But we will do live streams. We will do stuff. It's just going to be delayed. Or hopefully I can get some of it out next week in some fashion. So I don't want to get embarrassed is what it is. I'm not good enough to play people and not get embarrassed, but I will cast some. I have done some gameplay against the computer and things like that. Micah, I don't really get excited about the college football uniforms all that much. I think it's a little bit overblown, but some people love it. Some people love it. Thomas went to the Raptor Center as a kid and getting to have the picture taken on the Raptor on your arm. They won't let you do that anymore. I promise you that. Too many liabilities now people are worried about. Okay. Have we hit everything? Driving home after the San Antonio loss. Oh, I bet that was tough, Sam. Tough, Sam. All right. Good show tonight. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Y'all are awesome. As always, we appreciate you so much for being part of our little family within the Auburn family and spending some time with us here on Auburn Family Night. Until we talk to you again. War Eagle.